I promised this last week. This is the strawberry cheesecake, and it sounds weird. And, it's probably because it is a little weird. It smells like strawberries. Well, I mean, at this point, it just has a very heavy strawberry smell. Sometimes if you tell your brain something smells like something and it's close enough, your brain will be like, yeah, that smells like that. So I can kind of smell cheesecake in it, but it's mostly strawberries. I'm going to do my best not to hack up a lung here. I had another coughing fit last night. I am probably going to sneeze. I will try my best not to. I'm going to bring this down just a hair. Just a hair. There we go. All right. I recovered from the Brazil coffee last night. Whew. That keeps you awake. It wakes you right up. And it lasts. It's one of those coffees, like sometimes you can get away with brushing your teeth and then drinking the coffee, and then your day won't be, it won't be that gross. That's definitely a drink first, brush second coffee. It is just so strong, and my rubbery comment yesterday, I thought about it a little bit, and it seems harsh, and it makes it sound like you shouldn't try it. You should very much, if you get a chance to buy that Brazilian coffee or any Brazilian coffee like that, give it a try, because it's just, it's something that you should try, and that's what coffee is. Coffee is an experience. It's being able to try new things without having to go very far. You're walking through the store, and you have a coffee grinder or you've got a percolator, and you just spot something. You're like, gee, I wonder what that's like, and you can just pick it up. I mean, it's like the antithesis of freedom, really. I mean, you can, so why not? And that's when it comes to food and coffee. You can try it, and then you're like, ooh, I hate this, and then you're out $3-4, and that's all you're out. You're not out a tank of gas because you had to go to the store anyway to get something. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's just like you see something in the store you want to try. You're an adult. You're allowed to try it. And sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm an adult, and it's okay for me to try it. All right, so we're going to take this in a mid grind here, and I don't know if you can see, but I've got it set. I'm trying to monitor what this is 20 right there. So middle. I go this way, it gets finer. I go this way, it gets coarser. I found 20 to be the magic spot that gets me the pour over filter coffee that I want. So that went very quickly. I'm very happy with that. And we got exactly what we're looking for. That still looks really nice in front of the ground. There are some larger little pieces you can kind of see. They're not like boulders, but there are some larger pieces. But they're all broken up enough to where the water will pass through them easily, coffee will get extracted, and fun will be had. 160. Okay. We'll get up to 200. I really don't have anything I want to rant about today. Everything seems to be going all right. Yeah, pretty good. I guess there is one thing. I subscribe to a lot of toy blogs. Probably far too many. So I'll get emails every once in a while. And because I've bought Star Trek props in the past, I'll get letters from toy sellers that are like, hey, you bought this from us. Here's this. Maybe you're interested. And I'll be damned if someone is not developing a Dustbuster TNG first and second season phaser. A little background on that. They have, I believe it's Playmates. Yeah, Playmates put out both I think the Boomerang phaser and the Dolphin phaser. I'm probably going to get them backwards, but I believe the Boomerang phaser came later seasons of TNG, and then the Dolphin phaser came from the movies. So, and if you remember, like TOS and the original series and the motion pictures, the phaser kind of changed. If you're into Star Trek, you had your the cage phaser, which I have downstairs. I have basically a lot of the phasers. I don't have any phaser rifles because I never offered a phaser rifle. And the only way you can obtain a phaser rifle right now is through an Etsy person with a really good printer who's going to do all the work for you. 200. So the phasers evolved. Like I said, you had and the released phasers have always been a mixed bag. I mean, they've always looked very good and very prop-like. It's just that they've been cheap plastic with cheap interior sounds. Usually two functions. You have a stun and then you twist it and then you get a kill. Blah blah blah. So they had the cage phaser and then they had the TOS phaser. The cage phaser is the pilot phaser, and I think they reused the pilot in a two-parter. The pilot really didn't air until it came. It's a whole thing. But there was a pilot phaser, which looked like a regular gun, just more futurefied. And then the hand phaser that we all came to know and love happened throughout the original series, and then the motion picture came out. You really didn't see a phaser, maybe on some security people, but you never really saw a hand phaser directly. So, but in 2, the Wrath of Khan, you saw this sleek, silvery hand phaser that the away teams carried. 3 changed it up. The Search for Spock, it became more pistol-like, and then 5 and 6 kind of carried that phaser design. It even had a clip because the other 2 phasers didn't have clip. Oh, and none of the phasers really had clips. They had batteries, but the hand phasers used in 5 and 6 actually had clips, and I've got one of those downstairs as well. In 4, I think they had a really weird Type 1 hand phaser that was just a piece of, I don't know. Maybe I can find a picture of it and put it up here with the rest of the hand phasers that I'm talking about. But there's been an evolution, and then you get to TNG. And then the hand phaser is, it looks like a dustbuster. Both iconic and really funny to look at. I think after season 2, they changed it up to make it look more like a boomerang. So it's more of a curved shape. And I'll put a picture of that up. And then the movies came and they developed a little bit further. It wasn't such a drastic change, but it was enough of a change to make sleeker, a little bit more modernized, and that's when the dolphin, it was more of a dolphin shape rather than a boomerang shape, I guess. I mean, if you can tell the difference. So you had that. And then, we've moved on, and I think DS9 and Voyager kind of had the dolphin. DS9 and Voyager had 2 different types of Type 2 phaser rifles, which was really weird to me. So they've had iterations of all of these phasers, except the Dustbuster phaser, and that's the point I'm coming to. That's where I'm going with this. They've had iterations of all of the hand phasers, even the Discovery phasers. They're coming out with Strange New Worlds, those phasers. I'm sure they're going to come out. Picard's phasers were so all over the damn place. I don't think there was a single Federation phaser that you could really see that was used. They all looked different, and they weren't on the screen long enough for anybody to see if you just watched it once. And so they're releasing this Dustbuster phaser, and it's in a nice case. It's nice wood, and it's nice, and it's all metal. It's got LED strips at the top. so that way you can, do stun and I think it's stun. I think it's stun, maim, kill, and disintegrate. Were like the main justification, the main beam settings in the first. I think in the first season they had the little cricket phasers, which they've also come out with as keychains and as ones that are like this big, and then they're kind of ridiculous. But they've come out with those, but they never came out with a Dustbuster phaser. And I'm sorry, what I was going to say was on the cricket phaser they had a cut setting. So, and I think he yells it out, set your phaser to cut. And then they cut through a wall or something like that, which is really weird. But that's season 1 and most of season 2. A little weird.
This is the most direct route. Set phasers to cut through.
Almost as dark as yesterday, but it just seemed like that Brazilian coffee was like one of those voids, one of those dark voids you can look into and never, it's like an abyss. It's like those starless parts of the sky where you're like, my God, how dark is that out there? But this, look at that. I mean, this looks rosy with most of it gone. Looks very rosy. And then, of course, Habadwa. Ohana. Family. Habada. I love Stitch. See, when it's ground and passed through a filter, you get less strawberry hit and more of the creamy hit. Yeah. Oh, and then you get really nice. It's really weird how they can get a hit of strawberry without it tasting sweet, which means it does taste. It's really coffee. Coffee stuff can be complex in ways it doesn't have to be, but it is. Which, we all benefit from. I mean, the pre-ground McDonald's coffee that's cinnamon flavor, that's cinnamon infused, that came from something. Somebody played with something in a lab for like months, and then they're like, here's this wonderful cinnamon coffee. Even though it says McDonald's on it, it still tastes amazing and it smells wonderful. And I think that was my first real dive into that kind of coffee, was the pre-ground McDonald's cinnamon coffee. And it just, I don't know, it just blew my mind. And I'm like, what else is there? And then, of course, now we're here at strawberry cheesecake. Okay, so back on track for a second. I won't let this linger too long. So I get an email saying, hey, there's a company, they're releasing the Dustbuster TNG Type 2 phaser. And I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing. How cool would that be? And then I click on the page and I'm looking at the pictures and I'm like, this is amazing. This is beautiful. What, it just looks awesome. And then I get down to the price. $550. And they're making it limited edition. So there's only going to be 1,500 of these things. Which means they'll be selling in the world for a little while and then they'll be gone. Hence, limited edition collectible. And it just like my heart sank and I'm like, if it were $200, $250, I could probably be like, you know what? I'll fudge it and it'll be here second quarter 2023. $550 is a little much. So, but anyway, so there's a rant. How's that for a rant? An educational rant for those that didn't know much about Star Trek or never cared to ask. And I'll put pictures of all of those phasers that I was talking about up on the screen because they're very easy to find, but I'm talking about them. I might as well illustrate what I'm talking about. I'll probably go downstairs and take pictures of my phaser collection. It is silly and plastic. So and illustrate the fact that they made, and I was talking about the little cricket phasers. They're little Type 1 phasers. They're about this big. Officers, I believe, were meant to carry them. And they had them in the original series as well. I don't think they were used a lot. I think they were more focused on the Type 2 hand phasers. And the Type 3 phaser rifle that Kirk uses is only used in one episode. And then I think that thing sold at an auction for like $300,000. If not 300, definitely like between 150 and $300,000. So, and it looked cool. And they're making those and selling them on Etsy. I mean, people are making those with 3D printers and selling them on Etsy. No electronics, just the size of the thing. I mean, it's huge. It's a phaser rifle. It's a rifle. But they're like charging $300 and $350 for it, which is fair because I mean, you print it out, you sand it, you paint it. There's jewels that go on there. There's decals that go on there that you have to die cast. And then there's tubes that go in the middle and they kind of rotate, and it's weird, and it's justifiable because that's somebody's work. Somebody's put that in, and they're not mass produced. They're just handmade by an artisan. There's another thing we'll go into later. It's at some other point, artisan. Anyhow, hey, thanks for listening to the rant this morning. Hopefully it wasn't too much. And thanks for joining me for a cup of coffee this morning. Bones Coffee Strawberry Cheesecake. If you are looking for something weird, different, and fun, and you like cheesecake and you like strawberries, definitely give this a try. It's a little mind-blowing how delicious it is and how it all kind of comes together. There's really no bitterness in this coffee. Very, very little bitter. You got quite a bit of strawberry, and you get quite a bit of a creamy texture and flavor. All without milk. It's just funny. It's just really funny. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow we're going to do a little special clean out of my buddy here, and that'll go up about 9 o'clock, and I'll link that in Facebook so that people can take a look. All right. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me for this morning's cup of coffee, and we will talk to you later. Have a good day.